I think. It was
Sorry,
probably
I
our
totally
worst yet.
screwed you guys.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't have a plan. No. That's okay. This one's going to be the bomb. I got to figure out how to actually do podcasts because just doing the Zoom is it's one part of it, I guess. Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Moviemood. I'm your host, Alex Van Horn.
I'm John Alberto.
And we're joined today by fellow movie expert and also writer, English major, blog post writer, Wiley Lawrence.
Yes, hello. Thank you. It is a great honor and a privilege to be here today.
It's good to see you, man. It's good to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk some movies.
For sure. And today we're going to talk about some one of my favorite filmmakers. I always kind of like I always think like, oh yeah, like I really like his movies. Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, I like Quentin Tarantino too, man. He's one of the only directors where I think I've seen his entire filmography, like at least the movies he's directed himself.
Yeah, I think I've seen everything except for Death Proof. But yes, I've seen most of his movies and always try to go out and check out what he's up to. Yeah. And he's one of the best. What do you think about Tarantino, Wiley?
Yeah, he kind of has a special place in my heart. Like, he was pretty big for me in high school. Like, I feel like a lot of people. Like,
oh yeah,
I was definitely one of those annoying kids who loved Quentin Tarantino and talked about him all the time. But yeah, I mean, he's great. Like, his movies they're super fun. Like, I was thinking about this. Like, I feel like the reason that I like him is because like he loves movies. Like, that's what all of his movies are kind of about. Like, are just kind of like movies that he loves, and like, so it's infectious. He makes making movies look like the most fun thing. So
definitely,
yeah.
His passion definitely comes through, even if like the references, you're like, what? What are you talking about? Like, especially in something like Inglourious Basterds, you like, what? Like German film from the 30s? I don't know about that stuff.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing, is he introduces me to like a ton of crazy ass movies I never would have seen before. So
I know. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well, because he definitely, I feel like he has a place, or at least I think about Italian horror movies this way, especially from the 70s. I feel like Quentin Tarantino has a place in that genre. Like, he uses a lot of that stuff, especially with references, etc. So do we want to start from the beginning of Tarantino, or do we want to go the end and go back, or start from our favorites?
I think in Tarantino fashion, we should kind of hop around.
Definitely.
Yeah, non-linear.
Yeah, for sure. I think the most recent one I watched was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I've been watching pretty frequently lately. Yeah, I have to say that's probably one of my favorites, up there with Inglourious Basterds, but I really liked it. And I think there's a lot to, like a lot of his movies, there's a lot to pick apart from it, especially with the themes and the references and like what he's trying to say about whatever that time period or the genres that it goes into. But yeah, it's somewhat a prescient movie. We could say it's prescient.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about Tarantino is that he's not set in one time period or one location. You know, his movies take us to different places and different things that appeal to him, almost different genres of movies, if you will, that have appealed to him throughout his life. And I feel like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is kind of his love letter to, you know, that late 50s into 60s Hollywood.
Yeah, especially Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times now, and I think I'm starting to think that it's one of his best. I think it's really I feel like a lot of his movies are just tributes to like different, like what you said, different eras of movies, and like I feel like that one just like it's kind of like the ultimate of like that time period, like late 60s, when a lot of the movies that he was like growing up, like when he was a little kid, going to see them and like loving. And so like I feel like it works on that level, and also just like I don't know, it's very like kind of immersive in a way. Like it really puts you in that place and time. Like I love the '60s. I'm kind of fascinated by that whole era. So it's pretty cool to see him kind of play around with it.
Yeah, I like the scene where he puts Leonardo DiCaprio's character into the Great Escape.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It looks so real.
Yeah. And he's like doing the Steve McQueen, but he's doing it like badly. But it's pretty amazing. I love that stuff. And I love the 60s, and especially 60s Hollywood is something of like is kind of a amazing time for movies and for music, and seeing that era done that way is really, really cool. Whether you're a fan of Easy Rider or Rosemary's Baby, there's little parts of those.
I mean, Polanski's in the movie.
Yep, Roman Polanski is a character.
Great guy.
Yeah, great guy. No. But there's like some subtle digs at Roman Polanski. I think there's at least two. There's like the part when whatever, like Steve McQueen, the character is like, wow, Sharon Tate likes like guys who look like 12-year-olds. And there's a few other ones, but yeah, I love that era.
Pretty big dig at Bruce Lee in that movie too.
Oh yeah, but you know what?
This is very controversial.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I felt like it wasn't that bad. Like I felt like it was like a part of the movie. It was like kind of supposed to be like playing fun at Bruce Lee. I didn't feel like, for me at least, I didn't feel like it was like Bruce Lee sucks. It was like, I don't know, a fun little moment with Bruce Lee kind of thing. Oh no, what do you think? You think?
Yeah, I don't know. It's Bruce Lee's obviously not alive anymore, but his family didn't take it that way.
Right.
But as much as Tarantino is loved by a lot of people, he has beef with, a lot of other movie makers out there. So I don't know if while Bruce Lee was living, he had an encounter with him and it caused some beef that brought it into the movie, but
I don't think so. Didn't Bruce Lee like died in like 1970 or something, right?
Yeah, but I mean, Tarantino was out in California at the time, I think. Yeah. So,
I mean, I feel like he's got to be a big fan of Bruce Lee. Like he loves kung fu movies. So like, I don't know. It's just like one goofy like 5-minute part of the movie. Like,
yeah,
ultimately that important to the story. So like, I don't know why people kind of focused on it so much.
Yeah, Kill Bill is like totally a Bruce Lee thing. It's just it's like a whole Bruce Lee homage.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. It's
Yep. So people need to stop being so butthurt about Tarantino. I don't know. He seems like an interesting guy. I met this dude at the French Film Festival who worked at Cannes, and like I briefly had a chat with him, and he was like, I met Tarantino, and I was like, oh, what was he like? And he's like, he shook my hand and it hurt really bad. It was like a really intense handshake. And then he said David Lynch was like the most awkward guy he ever met. Which makes sense.
I can see it. I can see Tarantino being a very energetic handshaker.
For sure. And aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also love like I came up with this theory, and it might be, I don't know, it might be pushing it a little bit, but I thought I saw similar themes in Parasite as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like a little bit, just with the way it plays with class in a lot of ways. Like I wrote this whole thing just to get it all out of my head, and it's similar, like showing like how old Hollywood versus what became like 70s Hollywood is kind of going out, and a lot of the, like especially Leonardo DiCaprio's character is like, he thinks he's like ruined, he thinks everything's over, but he really has this privileged place, whereas Brad Pitt is like, this sketchy stunt man. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I would not think to make that connection, honestly, but that's kind of, I can see there's something there, maybe.
Yeah.
I would have to watch like both of them again with that in
Yeah.
mind.
And especially with the way they use the theme of Native Americans, I saw similarities. But yeah, I like the ending of Once Upon a Hollywood also.
It's kind of similar to Inglourious Bastards. It's kind of the whole like changing history kind of thing. Like, what did you think about that? Did either of you guys think about that when you
Oh yeah.
Once Upon a Time?
Absolutely. Yeah, I almost wonder, if one day we're going to see what the world looks like, if Tarantino is going to produce a movie of what the world looks like in his universe, like after Inglourious Bastards, after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
After he makes when you make Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it would be cool to see him do like a modern day movie, but I feel like he's just not into it. So,
yeah.
Is Jackie Brown a modern day? I mean, Pulp Fiction is kind of a modern day, but Jackie Brown might be a modern day.
Yeah, I think Jackie Brown. I actually watched that movie this week. Sorry, cat. Yeah, I think it takes place in the present. But yeah, that's a great movie.
Underrated.
Yeah, very underrated. It's I don't know why it's been kind of overlooked in the rest of his filmography, I guess. I mean, it's certainly the least violent of his movies.
Yeah.
For sure. But I don't know. I got hardcore The Graduate vibes when I was watching it. Yeah.
That's weird. I never.
Yeah, well, especially like that whole opening is kind of
like,
directly taken from The Graduate. If I remember.
Yeah, the opening and then the very end.
That's right.
When she is driving away and reflecting, and I was thinking about Dustin Hoffman on the bus at the end of The Graduate, kind of reflecting.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I totally didn't even think about that. That's true because she's coming in on the what is it?
The
escalator thing. You know what I'm talking about.
The flat escalators in the airports. I don't know what they're called. The walkways.
The fast walkways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't think it did well with the box office. In the box office. And I think a lot of people consider it like his most mature movie. And it's certainly like more like a novel. It comes from Elmore Leonard, who's awesome. Love Elmore Leonard books. And he's been really influenced by Elmore Leonard a lot. And I feel like it's closest to the novel and doesn't really go into any craziness, I guess. It's a little more toned down than, something like Reservoir Dogs or Kill Bill, which is not a bad thing, but those movies are certainly way more popular than Jackie Brown.
Right. And I might be wrong, but I think it was the only movie that he's directed that was an adaptation versus something that he wrote himself.
Right. Well, I guess you could. Yeah, that's true. Well, I guess you could make the argument that he steals from spaghetti westerns and all this other stuff, but it's kind of a mix of different things.
Yeah, it's kind of homage versus, an adaptation of a book. But
right. Yeah. But I like that one. It's a good one. And Michael Keaton's in it.
Sure is, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people have like started to come around and see how good Jackie Brown is. Like I see people talking about it more often now. And like, I feel like I like that movie because like I feel like he showed how good of an actress Pam Grier is. Like I'm a big Pam Grier fan, like all the old blaxploitation films that she was in. Yeah. Like she's an amazing actress. Like in that, like she's like he gave her a leading role like when she was like in her 40s, like kind of past her prime, which is like a pretty cool thing.
Kind of like John Travolta a little bit in Pulp Fiction.
It's a nice segue.
Yeah.
Into Pulp Fiction.
That's true. Yeah. Pulp Fiction. I feel like Pulp Fiction was the first one I watched. I think it was that I was like, oh, like this is awesome. And yeah, I think I watched it when I was like maybe 11 or 12 or so. It's probably on like FX or something. And bleeped out all the bad words. But yeah, it's certainly like I feel like it's still, the big movie everybody talks about with Tarantino.
Yeah, I think so too. He Reservoir Dogs, it became really, really popular after the release of Pulp Fiction. And we've talked about this before, but 1994 was a great year for movies, and Pulp Fiction really shined through in that year. So
yeah,
and
it's a great movie, no doubt.
Yeah, it's a terrific movie. And it kind of introduced the Quentin Tarantino, not universe, but connections amongst the movies, like John Travolta's character and his connection to one of the characters in Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, and then Jules's character kind of shows up too, right? In other movies. I think so. Samuel L. Jackson's.
Does he?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think he's in Kill Bill. He's like playing the piano or something.
Nice.
Yeah, or Kill Bill 2 or something.
Oh my gosh. Samuel L. Jackson has so much charisma in Tarantino movies. It's incredible.
It's true.
Yeah.
I was listening to something where apparently Lawrence Fishburne almost had that role in Pulp Fiction, which would have been a totally different like trajectory for Lawrence Fishburne.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Samuel Jackson just knows how to say that dialogue in like the perfect way.
It's true. It's true. It's hard to see anybody else other than Samuel L. Jackson being in that movie and doing that scene.
Right.
What's your favorite? Because it's all done in segments. What's your favorite segment of Pulp Fiction? I almost want to say this Christopher Walken part.
All the segments have names, I think, but I don't know. I think the Bruce Willis one might be.
Yeah.
That one always comes up in my mind when I think about the movie.
Which one?
The Bruce Willis, like the whole crazy trajectory that goes down with the pawn shop. And like, I was just like, what the fuck is happening in this movie? But and then also like the famous dance sequence with Travolta and Uma Thurman. You gotta love that.
Oh yeah, when they go and get burgers and milkshakes.
That movie has a really terrific soundtrack too.
They all do.
Yeah, absolutely, they all do. But yeah, that movie got me really into Chuck Berry for some reason. Like, so that was cool. But,
that one song that they play.
You Never Can Tell.
It's great too.
Yeah, it's a bop.
Yeah, he's always got bangers in his movies.
Mm-hmm.
Always good songs.
Yeah. It's also funny to think about the influence Pulp Fiction had at the time with like, because like after that, all these like horrible ripoff,
so many
Pulp Fiction ripoff movies came out that like were just totally forgotten now.
There are some good ones. I mean, I think you could argue like Christopher Nolan movies and what's that Amores Perros movie are kind of
that one's kind of like Pulp Fiction-y.
Yeah, because it has the non-linear storytelling and all that. But then there's also the terrible. There's one with like Benicio del Toro that I never watched that I always saw like a trailer for.
There's probably so many cringe movies
that
have been forgotten to time.
Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot with his movies. Certainly with Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained also. There are plenty of movies that kind of were a bit of ripoffs or like kind of coming off of that wave of those films. And he's influential.
That's kind of part of it. Like he makes you want to make movies. Like I'm sure like you've probably written some like terrible Tarantino ripoff scripts like I have.
Dude. Let's not talk about those.
Can you pull a couple of them up for us and kind of read them?
No,
Live reading.
Those are dead and gone. I probably have one or two up in the in my with all my other writing stuff. Yeah, but it's true. He's a big deal. Speaking of use of music, he uses music really well in Reservoir Dogs too.
Well, yeah, he's got the whole like the K-Billy radio station that's kind of running through the whole thing, which is a cool little motif.
Yeah, it's a good way to like add in the music or add in like the oldies music without being like, all right, I want to play like that one song. The Ooga Shaka
Hooked on a Feeling, I think.
Yeah, Hooked on a Feeling. Yeah. I remember the first time I watched that movie, I watched it with my dad and he turned it off when the ear scene started, and I never watched it for like 4 or 5 more years. And yeah.
I'd probably watch the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs when they're in the diner maybe 20 times. But the first time I watched the movie in its entirety was just this last year.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, no way. So like I heard like, everybody talking about Reservoir Dogs for years and years and years. And I was just like, I'll get around to it.
That first scene is like probably the most Pulp Fiction-y scene.
Yeah.
And then the rest is like very plot driven.
Yeah, I think about the beginning of Pulp Fiction with Tim Roth in the diner about to rob it. But
yeah. I actually saw like a book of his screenplays in the bookstore I was at. Almost got him. But I've read plenty of his scripts before.
I kind of think that Reservoir Dogs might have had more of a impact on me than like Pulp Fiction, because like when I saw Reservoir Dogs, like I was in, like I was like, all right, I like this guy, and then like Pulp Fiction was just kind of confirmation. But like I always wanted to rip off Reservoir Dogs or make my own Reservoir Dogs, because it's kind of like, it's that kind of movie. It's a small cast, and like he clearly didn't have like a ton of money, so I feel like it was pretty influential that way as well.
Yeah, and he's got some big names on there, but they're like low key, like 90s indie, like Steve Buscemi.
And he got some really, really great performances out of that cast. Like, I've watched Harvey Keitel in a lot of movies, and I think that might be my favorite Harvey Keitel performance. Yeah.
He's
everybody's incredible, right?
Yeah.
Mr. White.
Yep. And Michael Madsen. I think that was his. That was my favorite of his performances in the Tarantino movies I've seen him in, anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you guys seen like his movies that he wrote, True Romance and Natural Born Killers?
Yeah, I haven't seen Natural Born Killers in a long time. I don't really remember.
It's crazy.
I love True Romance. Like I saw that a few months ago. It's pretty good. It still holds up.
I think I've only seen both of them twice. I mean, once. And I like them. I think I liked Natural Born Killers a lot when I saw it. It was just, I feel like it was the last good Oliver Stone movie that he made, and then the rest he's just kind of like he's not as edgy anymore. He's lost his edge. But that one is certainly like, I feel like he went to the extent of like how crazy he can make his movies.
Yeah, I haven't seen Natural Born Killers. I actually did not know it was written by Tarantino.
Yeah,
I knew True Romance was, but I did not know about Natural Born Killers. I might have to check it out. We know how I feel about Oliver Stone, but I might make
it's, well, if you like JFK, if you liked how fast the camera whipped around at JFK, trust me, it's worse in Natural Born Killers.
I'll check it out.
Let's talk about Inglourious Bastards.
I love Inglourious Bastards.
Might as well.
Yeah. I feel like that was my favorite for a really long time, and now I'm not sure, but I still really, really like it. Like I think it's in my top 3 at least.
Yeah, it's definitely in my top 3 as well. And it was actually the first Tarantino movie I ever saw.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I remember in like 2009 or whatever when it came out, I was like, I gotta see that. It looks so action packed. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is like something totally different. It kind
Yeah.
of blew my mind.
Yeah. There's way more talking, but it's awesome.
And then French
Awesome talking. Yeah.
and like German.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost overtaken Pulp Fiction for some people as like his best. I don't know if you guys feel that way.
I feel like Pulp Fiction is more like iconically Quentin Tarantino, but I feel like to me it is better because it just has more, like, I don't know, it's more thought provoking, but it still has that non-linear storytelling that is in his movies.
He's just been on a streak since Inglorious Bastards, though. I mean,
Yeah.
like, look at it since then. Inglorious Bastards, Django, The Hateful Eight, and then Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like,
Yeah.
he's been making.
I feel like he really he's pretty consistent about making really good movies. Like, I can't think of a bad movie. I haven't seen Grindhouse, but
Well, yeah, have you not seen
Yeah.
Death Proof? Come on.
no, I have to see Death Proof.
Don't
and
sleep on Death Proof.
Planet Terror.
It's better than you think.
Man, I'll just have to check it out. Yeah, and then but strangely enough, I've seen all the commercials in Grindhouse, like the Edgar Wright and I think there's like a Rob Zombie, maybe. Might be wrong, but
It's got pretty remarkable stunt work.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's rad.
That's what I also like about his movies is that he definitely does that like 70s, like trying to do it as real as possible. And Christopher Nolan does this too. It's really like practical effects for the most part.
Yeah, and he was the cinematographer on it too. He was the DP.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah,
Oh, man, I gotta check it out.
yeah. It's worth the watch.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, Inglourious Bastards is good. I felt like I wasn't super into Hateful Eight, but I really like Django and Inglourious Bastards. I actually saw Hateful Eight in the 70mm screening that he did, and it was kind of funny because like there's an intermission. And like I went out and I thought it was really good. And then this old woman turned to me and she was like, "You liked it?" And I was like, "Oh." Because I remember it was after that crazy scene where Samuel Jackson talks to the Confederate general.
Bruce Dern.
Right. Yeah.
That scene is like,
It's one of the most outrageous things in any of his movies, I feel like.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Why didn't she like it?
Why didn't she like it?
Yeah,
Or
did she tell you?
I mean, I felt like maybe, I don't know, like maybe she was like, "Oh, it's a 70mm screening, like Ben-Hur or something."
Oh, so she was expecting like
Yeah, or maybe she was like, "Oh, a Western." Like
she was expecting more of the
Western.
mountains of Wyoming and not the inside of
The cabin.
the haberdashery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting choice that it's like it's taking place in this very small space, but he shows like the biggest, most epic
Yeah.
format to shoot it in.
Oh
which is
yeah.
kinda cool.
Yeah. There were parts of it that didn't totally work for me, but I still liked it, but I didn't love it, I think, as much as Django or Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, I've made it my mission to defend the Hateful Eight from the haters.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, please.
Well,
Please.
Yeah.
I have to watch it again, but
Okay.
like I feel like it's better than people give it credit for. Like,
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like it's called the Hateful Eight. Like when he was making it, he was like, I remember seeing an interview with him where he was like, Westerns always reflected the times they were made in.
True.
So like when you think about it,
Hmm.
like he's trying to like, I don't know, make some sort of social statement that can kind of
Right.
like open up the movie a little more. But it's
Yeah.
interesting because like I read the script like when it leaked
Oh
because
no
he
way.
said he wasn't going to make the movie. So like I don't know. I feel like maybe it would have been different if I'd gone in like not having a clue what was going to happen.
Yeah, but
I
you
don't know,
liked
I
it
still,
though.
yeah, I still think it's. I think it's pretty good. Like I need to
Nice.
watch it again, but
I'll give it a second chance. I certainly liked, like, it definitely had a lot going on about like um talking about like race and feminism and in America, and it definitely brought up a lot of interesting themes. Also, like, yeah, there's some great performances from Samuel L. Jackson and Walton Goggins, and
Yeah, well, I love Walton Goggins.
yeah, Walton Goggins is awesome, especially in Vice Principals. It's a great show.
Yeah, I feel like people should give it another shot. Like,
Yeah,
maybe it would be better today than it was when it came out. I don't know.
yeah.
I,
I also
it has
like,
an amazing score.
Oh yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
by
my
Ennio.
goodness, yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace. And there's all the references to The Thing also, and all the spaghetti westerns. It's a good one for sure. It wasn't bad. It hasn't been a bad movie yet.
Yeah, I've actually only seen The Hateful Eight one time, and I guess I always have kind of paired it with Django, even though just because they're both westerns, they're but Django, the first time I saw Django, I really didn't care for it, but it's grown on me dramatically over time, and I think it might be it's definitely in his top 5 for me. And The Hateful Eight might be in his top 5 for me too. So
yeah, Django I loved. That's probably why I wasn't into The Hateful Eight, because I like really liked Django.
Okay.
I really liked Inglourious Bastards. And then I don't know. I'll have to take a look at Hateful Eight again. But it's certainly different than, but it's kind of like a trilogy in a way, I felt like. But you could say a lot of his movies are connected in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, active listeners on our podcast will know that I'm not really into westerns that much, which is maybe why it took me a little while to get into Django and The Hateful Eight, but I think it opened up a new genre for me, so that's good, and I'm getting more into westerns, specifically spaghetti westerns.
Good.
Yeah, so
Wiley
thanks,
and I are
thanks, Quentin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Django is like his biggest crowd pleaser. Like, I remember seeing that in theaters, and like it was, like, super fun. Like, people, like, by the end of it, like, everybody's super hyped up on everything Django's doing. So like, and I feel like I think it was his most financially successful. Like, I remember it was huge.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah.
but at the same time, very controversial. Like, a lot of people didn't appreciate some of the content.
Dude, I met Spike Lee that year. I chatted with him.
Why don't you like Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah, he was like, yeah, he hates Tarantino. I think they've just had a beef for a long, like, since the 90s or whatever. But
yeah, that was the beef I was bringing. That's the beef. The other beef that came to mind that I was referencing earlier was their beef. But
yeah, well, at VCU when he came, there was this guy who came up to him and they're like, "What do you think of Django Unchained?" And he was like, I'm not gonna talk about that. Like, just won't. But yeah, I really like Django Unchained. I felt like Samuel Jackson's performance, and in a lot of the Tarantino's movies, I feel like it's the most underrated in that movie.
You said that when we talked briefly about Django Unchained recently, I had mentioned that I was surprised that it was Christoph Waltz that got nominated for the Oscar and ultimately won the Oscar, and not Leonardo DiCaprio. And then you said it should have been Samuel L. Jackson, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, "You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
it should have been Samuel L. Jackson.
He's the one
that hilarious in that movie.
Yeah,
like kind of sinister at the same time.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, he kind of almost has more power than Leo. He kind of sees more of what's going on than Leo. But Leo's performance in it is really good, but his southern accent goes in and out.
I thought it was perfect, but
whatever.
No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe I'll have to watch it again.
I didn't
But one we haven't talked about is Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
How could we forget?
Yeah.
And I think you told me one time, Wiley, that was your favorite.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've decided that maybe it's his best. I don't know. I don't know if I would say it's his best, but it's definitely become my favorite because it's like it's the ultimate tribute to like spaghetti westerns, kung fu, like everything that he's into and obsessed with is like packed into that movie, and it's just like really fun, and yeah, like introduces you like when you want to, or at least when I watched it, I was like, where is he getting all this from? This is crazy. It's like a comic book or something, and then like you go and check out like exploitation films and see what that's all about. So yeah, kind of I like it for that reason.
Have you seen that one Snake movie that he based the snake from Volume 2 on? I'm blanking on what that's called, but it's actually really good.
I'm sure it is.
Like Black Mamba or something.
Oh yeah, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. And yeah, he takes it from so many movies. And like, yeah, I think he's a big fan of that movie Battle Royale. And I think the last scene with all the people that the bride fights, they're all the kids from Battle Royale. Just crazy.
Yeah, I think Tarantino said that was his favorite film of the 21st century,
which is nuts.
Yeah.
It's like a crazy.
Yeah.
He's got some interesting like film choices that he loves.
His lists are always kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because I'll pick something that I would never want to watch. I'm like, oh, maybe I should have seen that.
I remember there's one year, whatever the year Toy Story 3 came out, he said like that was the best one. And then it was like Robin Hood with Russell Crowe, which I hated.
Hey man,
I was not a fan. Did you like it?
Oh yeah, that was Russell Crowe's peak in those years. You know, you got Robin Hood, you got Noah.
That's true. That's true. Man, I gotta stop being a hater.
Yeah, I love Russell, man.
I gotta check out Robin Hood again.
Yeah, give it another watch.
One of Quentin's like end of the year lists had that movie. Do you even remember this? Called like Our Idiot Brother. With like Paul Rudd. I was like, what? That's so random. I guess I should watch this. Maybe it's good. But
yeah.
I never did. Never really felt like checking it out.
No. What he has like a best 10 best list, and there's like the good, the bad, the ugly. It's like, yeah, that's pretty great. And like Rio Bravo. And then he's got some random stuff. But yeah, I love how he's opened it up to like not only, the great quote unquote movies, but also like some like pretty great trashy exploitation movies. Did we miss any of Tarantino's movies that we haven't talked about?
Anything else to say about Kill Bill?
Kill Bill is great. I don't know if it's like it's one of my favorites, but I really do like the first volume a lot. It's super good.
That crazy kung fu fight.
Yeah.
And with all those people.
So many, yeah. I feel like it's kind of like, whereas you have like Inglourious Bastards and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like they're really thought out like thematically. And then I feel like Kill Bill is just him like, what would be fun? Like what would be a fun thing to do?
Well, it's a pretty good revenge story. And like revenge is a big thing for him.
So yeah.
Like it's probably the only theme. Or like
I think you could write like a lot of essays about like the way he uses revenge. A lot of in-depth film theory stuff.
Alex, do you think you would have enjoyed it more if he had released it in one part versus 2 volumes?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, I feel like they're kind of different, both of them, but good in their ways. I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't like Kill Bill, but I think it's not my favorite of all of his movies. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. I think, and Wiley, you probably know this, but I believe it was his original intention to release it as one volume, like a 4-hour epic.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I think they have like released like a DVD or something that's like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I did watch them both back to back one time. It was pretty fun. So
nice.
I don't know. Maybe you would play better that way.
I forgot about the anime sequence also. It's very like Japanese cinema heavy, which I love.
Oh yeah, I need to watch some more Japanese cinema. That's not anime.
Check out Lady Snowblood.
Oh yeah, that's one I've needed to see for a long time.
It's very like, yeah, it's almost exactly Kill Bill. Like, yeah, it's pretty good, pretty sweet.
Nice.
Well, that kind of brings me up the question. Like a lot of people say that he's like a rip-off artist, or like he just takes parts from other movies and like puts them in his own stuff. Like, do you think that's unfair? Because I think, well, yeah, you just say what you think about that, and then I'll follow up. But like, yeah, what do you think
Yeah,
about that?
I mean, I think it's great. I've always loved it. Like, I feel like when he uses all the different is reusing soundtracks and songs from different times. Like, I feel like he gives it new meaning in a lot of ways. Like, he's certainly like, even though like if you think about like John Ford or something, and he's constantly been like, no, I don't like John Ford, da da da. But I feel like there's one shot in Kill Bill that's like exactly from The Searchers, and he kind of like makes it into a new thing. And like, yeah, I don't know. I think I like his way of recycling stuff. Like, I feel like it's good. Obviously, there are like copyright issues, and I think Ennio Morricone was probably pissed off, but like, I don't know. Some of those movies that he rips off from aren't, I don't think are as good, but they,
Yeah,
you know,
that's the thing. Like, if you go back
Yeah,
and watch some of these movies, you're like, this is not like. I mean,
yeah,
they're often good, like they're fun, but
yeah,
like he's definitely like elevating it to this new place. So
he he, he is. He's an amazing writer. Like,
yeah,
and the dialogue in his movies is incredible. I think a lot of people think about, some of the other aspects of his movies, the hyper violence, the pacing, what have you. But even just the dialogue in his movies elevates it. And I I'm not really sure it's ripping off as much as paying tribute to those movies.
yeah, for sure. Also, side note, I feel like Tarantino got me into like languages in a way, because especially with Inglorious Bastards, and like he's always using like he like translating his dialogue into other languages. I felt like that was always a cool thing. And I mean, even if Hans Landa is kind of a terrible person, but he speaks like 5 languages fluently, which is kind of crazy.
yeah, did you learn Spanish or like French because you watched, I don't know, Glorious Bastards?
Maybe. I mean, probably know a little bit of French just because of that movie. Um, Not Spanish though, but yeah, maybe Italian. Grazie. I don't know that much, but I don't know. It gives you appreciation for language, and also like cinematic language as well.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a question I have. Like, did you guys discover any like favorite movies or directors via Tarantino? Like, did he introduce you to some cool stuff?
I'll let you take that, John.
Oh lordy, I have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I I I want to say, just because of the movies that I've watched more recently, Jackie Brown, Death Proof, things like that. I want to explore the exploitation genre a little bit more. So I think in my I'm always asking Alex for movie recommendations at the end of these things, and I try to find them. And so I think, having watched those movies recently, I want to see some of the things that he was referencing in them, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. I did kind of the same thing. Like, he definitely introduced me to what spaghetti westerns are, and like
Yeah.
got me to check out some like black exploitation and like other crazy exploitation films. So like and also
Yeah.
Godard, actually, like
That's
like he
true.
because he
That's
is kind of
true.
influenced by Godard. So like,
Yeah. He is really like, yeah, I always forget that. Like he is really like takes a lot from Jean-Luc.
Yeah, so you
Even though
want to watch
Jean-Luc is kind
Breathless.
of in some other place, like he isn't really doing what he's doing in, you know, the 60s and 70s. But yeah, definitely sent me to Godard and to Sergio Leone and even to Sergio Corbucci.
Yeah, Corbucci.
Who's like
Yeah.
you know, the Great Silence, or Big Silence, however you like to say it, Gran Silencio. Certainly, like he also kind of gave me appreciation for like bad movies, because I feel like if you're like watching movies, you like want to check out the great movies, you know, the movies that are, you know, that were big and in their day. But he also finds a lot of good stuff in like trashy movies, especially, you know, blaxploitation. um I'm a big fan of Shaft and Gordon Parks also. I actually saw it with what's his name, the guy who plays Shaft. I like saw him introduce that movie at one point. um and yeah, he's just opened up, he's got a good appreciation for movies. And um I think I appreciate with him The Great Escape and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly a lot as well.
Yeah, he's the ultimate nerd.
Yeah, for real.
That's why movie nerds like him.
I know. Yeah, he certainly geeks out, makes you want to geek out with a lot of movies. But yeah, do you want to talk quickly another big this is gonna be an interesting segue, but another big person I feel like he kind of takes a lot from certainly like Italian movies and the Italian horror movies, which we're really into, Wiley and I, especially Dario Argento.
And Lucio Fulci. He
Yeah.
might be my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like Lucio Fulci more than Dario, or do you think they're both awesome?
Yeah, I'd have to see more of his movies, but like I feel like I did first hear Fulci from Quentin, maybe.
Oh, okay.
That would
Nice.
make sense. But yeah, both very crazy horror movies that do a lot of interesting things, a lot of gore, which
Definitely.
Quentin probably likes.
Yeah, I feel like in Kill Bill and the end of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I felt like I thought about Dario Argento a lot, like just the like the violent scenes and like the way they're done is very cinematically like amazing, the way they're done, but they're very like hard to watch in a way because you're like I definitely thought about with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the first death scene from Suspiria a lot.
Yeah, and that's also like his violence is so over the top. Like it's hard for me to like be like actually disturbed by it a lot of the time.
True.
It's so like cartoonish. So I feel like he definitely
Mhm.
took that from those movies.
Yeah, certainly in Django, also in all of his movies, they're just like, you know,
His blood
very,
and guts.
yeah, but they're beautiful in their way. It's beautiful violence sometimes. But you know, again, you could write like a whole, you know, essay about like the ways that he uses violence. It's very meta, I suppose. Um, but yeah, I recently watched Zombie 2.
Oh, nice. What'd you think of it?
I loved it.
Of course.
Yeah, it's definitely like very like, yeah, exploitation. And there's the scene where the zombie fights the shark.
Oh,
And
yeah, I
it's
forgot
like,
about
did they like just kill a shark for this movie? Like,
It's entirely
um,
possible.
yeah, it is possible. Yeah. But I liked it a lot. I felt like it was probably shot in Italy, but it still kind of worked as like a, you know, taking place in the Caribbean kind of uh movie. But I definitely like The Beyond a lot.
Yeah, The
That
Beyond
was
is my
so good.
favorite for sure. Such an insane movie.
Yeah. It's in New Orleans, which I
Yeah, a lot
love.
of fog,
Yeah.
a lot of weird zombies.
I felt like that was the most like Lovecraftian. There's a lot of like people talk about Lovecraft all the time, but I feel like that was the most Lovecraftian movie I've seen. It's not like a Lovecraft like based on one of the stories, but I feel like with the ending and all that, it felt like a Lovecraft thing.
Yeah, talking about these movies kind of reminds me of like the fake posters for Rick Dalton's movies that he was in, and Once Upon a Time, which is like one of my favorite parts of that movie, because there's like the Western, and then like the Italian movie Operazione Dynamite. He should make that movie next. Like that should be his last movie.
That'd be great.
Operation Dynamite.
Rick Dalton. My dad, he constantly watches like old Western TV shows and like sometimes there's like specials from the 60s. And if I see that, I'm like, let's sing that the Green Door song that Leo sings. It's definitely like comes from something real. I don't know anything about old Western TV shows.
Neither do I.
Yeah. That's not of our generation.
Maybe we should go back and watch some. Maybe they're worth watching. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen a little bit of like Gunsmoke and stuff like that, but nothing too big.
Toy Story 2 told me that after Sputnik, kids just wanted to play with space toys, so that's when the Westerns died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that from Toy Story 2?
Yeah, that's what Stinky Pete said in Toy Story 2.
Oh. I haven't seen that movie in so long. That's wild. But that's kind of true. Westerns are kind of like they're very, I mean, especially from like the 60s now, they're always, they seem to be like kind of ironic in a way.
Space people movies just can't they can't do a straight Western. It's too, and people are too cynical.
Yeah. It's true. Maybe like 310 to Yuma or something like that. Speaking of Westerns, I wanted to let you guys know and alert the people out there that recently my copy of Cormac McCarthy's Cities of the Plains was stolen from my car. So if anybody sees it around,
I'm so sorry.
Is that all they took?
Yeah, it's weird.
That's horrible.
Like my car doesn't lock, but I like don't worry about it because I just keep it in the garage most of the time and don't really take it anywhere. And yeah, they just took my book, which is a really odd thing to take.
Some nerd.
Yeah, some nerd for sure.
I wanted to read this book.
Like, oh, Cormac McCarthy. But
get $3 for this.
Yeah. I'm gonna take this to the used bookstore. But yeah, I think we had a good talk about Tarantino, and there's so much more we could talk about, like individually pick apart with all of his movies.
Yeah, for sure. We could do a full Joe Rogan, 3 hours.
And of course, smoke blunts and talk about sensory deprivation tanks.
I'll come back for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Rock and roll.
We're living in a simulation, everybody. Well, cool. Well, I think that covers our movie mood of the day. Unless you guys have anything more to add on Quentin.
No, but if any of the listeners out there find Alex's book, please do let us know in the comments.
Forget about that book. Whoever you thief, whoever got it, you read it and enjoy it. Get a different copy.
Well,
all right.
Thanks, guys. This is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on some more. Talk some more movies. That sums up our movie mood. We will see you guys next time. If you guys have any ideas of anything we should talk about or to delve into, please put it in the YouTube comments. And yeah.